Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're bringing you the DLC 5 patch. This adds arms race to the game, this adds the 4th skill trees to the game, this brings us Major Zane changes, some flak pet buffs, some other things, and then even at the end of all of that, we also get hotfixes, buffing a ton of base game weapons. So with that being said, let's get straight into these patch notes. Real quick though, before we get into these patch notes, if you could please drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Borderlands 3 videos. Also, I wanted to say, if you guys are purchasing the season pass, there will be a link in the description below where you can purchase the season pass and I get a cut of the profits, something like that. But anyways, the point is, if you guys are buying the season pass on PC, you can help me out by using my link. Now, let's go straight into the patch notes. Borderlands 3 patch and hotfixes for November 9th, 2020. Basically, like I said, it adds the new content, the 4th skill tree for each Vault Hunter, arms race, and the multiverse form cosmetics, also to those that own the first season pass. Now, also, they're adding Mayhem 11. Now, you guys should know, Mayhem 11 is an exact copy of Mayhem 10, but there's no Mayhem modifiers. On top of that, you get half the luck, so half of your loot drops are gone. And then also, the major thing here though is that it is a copy of Mayhem 10. There are not new Mayhem 11 weapons. That's not what's happening. It's just Mayhem 10 with no modifiers and a little bit less loot. On top of that, they updated the anointments to support the 4th skill trees. As a part of updating anointments to support the new trees, we've also changed them to not activate on missed activations. The Siren can no longer fake grasp to activate anointments, and the Beastmaster can no longer gamma burst while looking at the sky to trigger anointments. They're going to monitor how these chains affect the characters and their builds, and looking to adjust as necessary in the future. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Next, after that, they have added 14 new action skill damage anointments. And each of these 14 different anointments buff 14 different action skills in different ways. And they've went ahead and done this instead of adding just one action skill damage anointment, but it is what it is. Let's just go ahead and keep moving on. Now, we got a bunch of general changes, but only 2 of them are really important. The first one is removed Mayhem level gear from enemies. What this means is M10 damage scaling is finally gone. Enemies will not deal M10 Mayhem damage to you, which was an unintended feature completely because our shields and our health did not Mayhem scale, and we weren't supposed to be taking more damage. Now, this is gonna actually mostly affect flak builds. Your flak builds will now be viable, based on their own current survivability. But, the purple skill tree for flak has some new survivability buffs. Anyways, added support for the final form character cosmetics at the new U stations. Those final form character models look sick. It's worth saying this, but let's go ahead and move on. The next thing we're looking at are 2 stability fixes, which are great. Let's go ahead and move on to the next big thing, matchmaking. They added arms race to matchmaking. They combined the trials and Circle of Slaughters into a single matchmaking pool. They also addressed issues where players matching from a takedown map would be put into a separate matchmaking pool. And then they updated matchmaking pools to only consider whether Mayhem mode is enabled or disabled, instead of creating a pool for each Mayhem level. So they attempted to improve matchmaking, it seems like. And also, I guess you should know, I am assuming you will be on whatever Mayhem level that the host's lobby is on. So keep that in mind if you're going into matchmaking. Now we get into the Zane, the operative changes. Major changes, guys. And we're probably going to spend most of the video here because you guys know I am a Zane main. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff. This is just my first impressions. I haven't tried any of this stuff actually yet. But yeah, so with today's patch, we made several changes to Zane and class mods. They want to increase build diversity and remove the reliance on one class mod for builds. While making these changes, we determined that certain skills should be moved on their respective skill trees to a different position. Now, you guys should keep in mind, for these skills changes to apply properly, you will need to save quit your character once to have their trees updated to these new layouts. I'm guessing this is something weird with the patch, but you will have to save quit one time if you want to see these changes, Zane players. So yeah. All right. Skill tree changes. The Hitman tree. Death Follows Close is an incredibly strong passive skill, much stronger than the effects of the capstone C in red. This feels backwards, so they have swapped the position of these two skills to better represent their value relative to each other. Please remember the changes require you to save quit your character once to function properly. They swapped the position of Death Follows Close and C in red on the skill tree. They also added a kill skill bonus plus 15% to C in red. Now, I will tell you guys right now, before we scroll down, I believe they took this off of C and Dead, because later on C and Dead, they said they reduced the effectiveness. So I think they took 15% from C and Dead and put it onto C and Red, which is an incredible change in my opinion. And it also now makes sense why the new Zane class mod has 10% bonus kill skill effectiveness, because C and Dead also has 10% bonus kill skill effectiveness. So that is a very, very interesting and very cool change. I'm actually happy with this entire change right here, and it surprised me that they swapped C and Red with Death Follows Close. It's actually going to be really cool, and it has more implications than you guys realize. For example, for C and Dead builds, you're going to want to get that capstone. I mean, you're going to want the capstone because it's very strong, but think about it like this. Death Follows Close also has the bonus 7 seconds or whatever it is on kill skills. The new Zane class mod has bonus seconds. So you don't necessarily need Death Follows Close if you're using the new Zane class mod, which is just very interesting. And those are just my initial thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and move on to the Undercover tree. Just like the Hitman tree, the mid-tier passive and capstone skills of this tree had an inverted value relative to their position. This change also allows players to get more value out of their shields and barrier via distributed denial being much lower in the tree. Please remember the changes require you to save quit your character once to function properly. Okay, this one surprised me. They have swapped the positions of Confident Competence and Distributed Denial on the skill tree. So just like Death Follows Close and C in red, they swapped Confident Competence and Distributed Denial, which this one surprises me a lot. And then they have buffed the gun damage from Confident Competence. So apparently you're supposed to get a ton of gun damage from the green tree capstone. We'll have to see about these changes. I don't know what the value of the gun damage is yet for Confident Competence. We'll have to see before we really make a full decision on what we think about this change. And not to mention Distributed Denial. I have made a video about this skill, and it is very buggy and just does not work with most shields in favorable ways. But yeah. Double Agent tree. This change is very interesting. I never expected this, but actually I'm pretty happy about it. Given the percent chance of duct tape mod proccing, it could spell disaster for Zane in close quarters combat. Now, players don't have to worry about accidentally downing themselves when a grenade is launched. Duct tape mod now grants Zane immunity to damage from his weapons and grenades. Super interesting. I am gonna play with this skill so much. This gives you immunity to self damage. That just sounds ridiculous. I can't wait to try this skill on, like, genuinely, and we'll see exactly what this change entails, but I'm pretty excited about it. Now we have gotten some changes to the class mods. The Infiltrator got changed. They reworked the ability to make the shield refill before it's broken. So this means for Nova shields or, for example, like the stopgap shield, it has to fill up before you can get that break effect. So this kind of works like the Acid Anointment now. You guys know the Action Skill Start Anointment where it fills and empties your shield and then refills it. That's how the Infiltrator works now. And actually, hopefully it works simultaneously with the Action Skill Start Anointment, because it was not working with that anointment before. Maybe it is now. Hopefully it is. But regardless, this works similarly to the Action Skill Start Anointment now, where it's actually going to be useful. And being able to spam the Mantis Shoulder Cannon means that you can potentially get a different anointment on your shield, and then you can still take advantage of broken shield effects on Zane. It's really awesome. Now let's talk about C and Dead. They essentially just said the class mod's overperforming, which is very true. They lowered the action skill damage bonus. Now, if I have to guess, I'm guessing it's going to be by 15%. They put that on to see in red. So I have always suggested this change. And once again, it makes sense why the new Zane class mod has 10% kill skill effectiveness. We'll see, once we get into the game, what this change exactly was. Now moving on to Amara the Siren, certain types of damage were unintentionally being passed to other enemies, caught in phase grasp and some other stuff. Anyways, they updated ties that bind to pass only weapon and melee damage to other enemies. So I believe this has to do with Revelation. The action skill augment for Amara, which creates a Nova on action skill start, you were able to literally just phase grasp and wipe entire groups. Which I also kind of agree is a little bit ridiculous. You at least make it so you have to shoot them. But anyways, weapon anointments that increase weapon or melee damage after phase slam now properly increase damage. I believe there was a weird thing where if you had the phase slam melee anoint on your weapon and the phase slam melee anoint on your shield, that they did not add together. You could only, they didn't stack. Only one worked. It sounds like they're both gonna work now, so that's pretty cool. They updated the Muse class mod to prevent double dipping on damage modifiers. I believe they actually already fixed this when DLC 4 came out, probably in a hotfix, and now it's in the patch. So I'm not sure what changes are actually gonna be made to the Muse class mod, but there's a chance it actually stays exactly how it is right now, but we'll see. Next, Flak the Beastmaster. Pets will now receive damage buffs from the Global Grenade Anointment. I'm not sure which global grenade anointment they're talking about. Either 25% on grenade throw or 150% grenade damage. Probably 25% on grenade throw. I'm guessing that anointment was not working for Flak's pets. Also worth noting that the on grenade throw anointment is considered V2 damage. So if they made it action skill damage, then it'll now properly buff Zane's clone as well. So we're gonna have to get into the game to test that. I guess it should properly buff Iron Bear as well. I believe it was not buffing Iron Bear. I could be wrong about that. Depending on what they did to this grenade anointment, it might actually buff the other pets in the game, like Iron Bear and Clone, but we'll see about that one. Next, they addressed a reported concern that when dealing critical hits in rapid succession while using the Rack Attack action skill and head count passive, Rack Attack charges would not be gained properly and the cooldown timer was reset. Now, this was a weird bug with head count and Rack Attack, and it sounds like they fixed it. Now, let's talk about the Echocast update. This is actually very, very cool. They added support for all of the new content. The main thing right here that I'm going to tell you guys about is... where is it? Added a new arms race event to the Echocast, Extractor Breach. This new Echocast event will allow viewers an opportunity to win streamer items in a setting that makes sense for arms race. Basically, whenever we extract gear, you guys will have a chance to win those items. So for those of you who haven't been on Twitch, most of the Twitch Borderlands community knows about the red chest events. Whenever we open red chests, if you have your Twitch connected to your Borderlands account, you can enter and you can win items from the red chest. But now you can win items from our extractors. And the thing is, there's very powerful DLC items in those extractors, including all the new class mods. So this is a pretty awesome way to get DLC gear from just watching Twitch streamers. And you can come check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/ThiccFilA_. But let's go ahead and talk about these hot fixes now. We got hot fixes also with today's patch. If you're even still here watching the video with me, thanks for staying this long. And anyways, hot fixes for today. They enabled purple E-Tech pistols to drop in game. So this means we can get a purple carbuncle and I think a purple wyvern. And the purple wyvern is really interesting because I'm not sure what bonus weapon parts you can roll on it now. You might be able to roll another melee part on this, and that's very interesting for rack stab. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the weapon buffs. We've got the Pfizer, increased weapon damage. The Ion Laser, increased weapon damage, increased number of projectiles that are released when the laser stops. Shreddifier, increased weapon damage. This might be very strong. We'll have to see what they increased it to. The Trevinator, increased weapon damage. The Trevinator. We all love this gun, and you guys know why. I'm not good at telling stories. We're gonna keep moving on. But they buffed the Trevinator. It's awesome. The Tunguska increased weapon damage. I really hope this gun is good. I'm gonna find out when you guys do once we get into the game. The Link increased weapon damage. The Rebel Yell increased weapon damage. The Hornet increased weapon damage, increased splash damage radius. The Nemesis and the Flacker increased weapon damage, increased weapon damage. And that finishes out the video. If you guys stuck around this long, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, that's it for the patch and the hot fixes. I did this all in one take, so I think that deserves a like. Come check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/ThiccFilA_. I'm probably streaming right now or very soon, and I'm gonna stream all day because this is such a big patch. There's gonna be so much stuff to do. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.